Hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Rihanna, and welcome back to Fresh Off the Broke.
Fresh Off the Broke is about personal experiences growing up Asian American in a predominantly white community, Asian media, and Asian pop culture in general. Race has always been a sensitive topic. Every day, there are debates over race. With our podcast, we intend to shed light on the experiences of first-generation Asian immigrants, not put them on the pedestal.
We understand that race isn't everything, but there should be an acknowledgement of people of color, the knowledge gap, and the racial divide that will ideally be broken. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the episode. Today we will be talking about going to the mainland as a first-gen Asian. So, summer, unfortunately, is over. I hate to break it to you guys. But I'm sure a lot of you may have, taken a little vacation over the summer. Maybe you went back to your home country, or same. If you're a first generation Asian like us, maybe you went back to your parents' home country. Maybe you don't identify as that country being your home country. We'll get into it. Don't you worry. But vacations, going back home, kind of reminded us of this seemingly universal experience for those who are first gen.
And also second and third and
yes, all the generations.
We'll get into it.
Mm-hmm. Just to do a little explanation or a little definition for our podcast in specific, we define first generation as your parents.
For us personally.
Yes, for us personally. Your parents are immigrants. They immigrate to a country, and then you were born in that country, meaning you were born in a different
pretty
country
immediately
from your parents.
after.
Yes. Some people believe that immigrants are first generation, but to us, that's not how we define it. So just to clear things up, because, it can be confusing, and we have talked to people who are like, that's wrong. Let's just define it as that for the sake of our podcast.
Because here's the thing. So the reason why Rihanna and I don't think of ourselves as second generation immigrants is because our parents came and then immediately had us. And so we went through the experience together. I mean, we didn't immigrate, but the thing is, it wasn't like my parents came to Canada and then lived there for 10 years or 5 years and then had me. And because, my parents don't speak English. I mean, second gen, a lot of people can say the same, but my parents immigrated to Canada and then immediately had me. And then we spoke Chinese at home and everything. I started learning English when I started school. And so that's why we identify more with first generation, because it just resonates with us more. Because sure, I didn't grow up in China, but and I mean, maybe there should be a term, or maybe there's a new zone for whatever Rihanna and I and some other people probably are. Like, I don't know, half gen or whatever. But we just identify more closely with first gen and second gen, because typically second gen, the parents immigrated and then maybe worked and whatever, and then had them. So they had assimilated a bit into the culture, the local culture, and then had the kids. And typically with second and third and so on and so forth, the family is more and more assimilated, and then they're more westernized, maybe speak more English and everything. And usually the further along you get, the more distant you get from, I guess, the mainland and the, I don't want to say original culture, but like the culture of your background.
Yeah, your ethnicity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so because we were so close to the immigration, they had not assimilated, so we assimilated together. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why we feel, and you can have a different definition of first gen. You can disagree with that. That's okay.
Yeah. Just for the sake of our podcast and,
This is how
labeling.
we feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we hope that you can be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And besides, it's not to say that we call ourselves first gen because we think we're better than other gens. That's not
Oh,
how it
yeah,
works.
no.
Although that could be a whole other episode because some generations think they're better than other generations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could be another episode. I should write that down.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, contrary to the, ever debated definition of first generation, we believe that there is a very universally accepted experience for first gen or second, third gen, so on and so forth, Asians who go to their parents' home country. That is a shared experience amongst all.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to discuss it.
So, as Rihanna was saying, there is a pretty universal experience for Asians that weren't born in their parents' home country when they go back for vacation or for whatever reason, no wedding, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You go back and you're kind of treated a little differently
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know, it's almost like they can sense that you're not from there. And I mean,
Uh-huh.
and there are obvious reasons why you grew up in another country, and so you learned a different culture, and you dress maybe a little differently, and so they can kind of clock that you're, I don't know, American, you're a
Mm-hmm.
tourist or whatever. And
Even just like
especially,
mannerisms and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, I have actually gotten that before. That like one of my uncles said to me that you can tell that
that.
I
Mm.
was not born in China. And maybe he's right. Maybe I do look a little different because you drink different water, you consume a different diet. I mean, sure, I eat Chinese food at home a lot because my family makes Chinese food, but it's not the same Chinese food as you eat in
Mm-hmm.
China. And so you consume different water and different food, and you will probably in a biological way look a little different.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say?
No, yeah, that's just a really good point. Like besides the obvious physical, like clothing, um, mannerisms, it's literally like there's a biological reason as to why um people may be able to tell, even if it's just very slight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are lots of studies that have been done on like looking at different, I don't want to say face shapes, but like
I mean, yeah.
face shapes, I guess, even just body types of people in like the north of a country versus the south of the country. And even though
Mm-hmm.
everyone is technically the same, they're from the same country, it's very different and it's still generalized amongst like everyone in the extreme north looks a certain way and then everyone in the extreme south looks a certain way, and that's like
You speak a different way too.
yeah, for sure. Lots of small things that sometimes people don't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, this experience of going back home, I'd say, or to your parents' home
Mm-hmm.
country, And there's this feeling of, you're being treated weirdly, you're being treated differently. Maybe you're not treated like an outsider necessarily. Like maybe they're treating you the way they would treat other people in the family. However, something is just off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's safe to say that in this shared experience, that kind of off feeling is that feeling of disconnect with, the culture, the people you're around, where you are. And that just completely fuels and perpetuates this shared experience of, or amongst first generation Asians that just don't feel like they fit in anywhere. Don't fit in the West because, you're the weird Asian kid, or you're just the Asian kid. And then when you go back home or to your parents' home country, you also don't fit in because you're the Westerner. You weren't born here. You're not from here.
Insert the infamous, the infamous shared experience, not knowing where I belong.
The amount of essays written on that topic.
I've written one. You've written one. We've all written one.
And it's like, it's a very valid experience. But yeah. And I find it quite interesting, actually, because this experience happens even if you do your best to assimilate, I guess assimilate would be the word, to that country's culture.
Yeah, the blend in.
Whether it be like, even besides speaking, the way you dress, maybe you pick up certain mannerisms, or you kind of, put on, or not put on, but don't do the same things you would do back in your own home or in where you were born. I'm trying to think of an example. Like, I don't know, maybe where you were born in the West, like you don't bow, but then when you go back home to your parents' home country, you just bow, like part of the culture. I think that's a dead giveaway when someone just isn't used to bowing as a sign of respect.
Oh, right, because
Or not
they
even
probably
just
know
sign
that
of
you're
respect. Yeah, like it's very like clear. It's like, oh shit, this person, oh oops. I will bleep that out. I mean to say, oh shoot, this person like either is disrespectful or they don't realize they're being
family
disrespectful.
friendly. Oh, that's so funny. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone that listens to us is over the age of 18, according to our stats. But that's funny. leave this part in, regardless of if you bleep.
But so yeah,
we talk about such serious topics, and then you. Anyway, sorry everyone.
Anyways, being respectful. Oopsie, guys. Slip up right there.
Yeah, right. Anyway, we're saying, so even if you do your best to try and pass,
they know.
They know.
They just know.
And it kind of sucks because you just want to blend in.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even know how to speak the language, and they might clock you.
That's a whole thing that we'll get into. Like, regardless of if you don't speak or if you speak as good as you can, they will still somehow either know, or maybe they can't actually like hear the difference in how you speak,
but you look different.
Yeah. Or they just like treat you differently because they know.
That happened to me a lot, actually, because like I said, my parents don't know English, and so growing up, we always spoke Cantonese at home. We still speak Cantonese at home, and so I have, in my opinion, pretty native language, native. Wow, I guess my English sucks. Pretty native level Cantonese,
Mm-hmm.
and I will fight anyone that says I don't.
Period.
Just putting that out there in a video game.
Period.
Where was I? Oh, so I can speak native language Cantonese. I can speak Cantonese with a Cantonese accent, and I when I go back, I'm able to blend in the sense that people won't immediately think that I am not from, for instance, Guangzhou, from the
Mm-hmm.
way I sound. And the thing is, I think, well, I guess maybe they just don't voice it. But like sometimes, for instance, I think I've shared this once, but my uncle randomly said to me that you could tell that I wasn't uh from here because I didn't look like I was from China. And I was so hurt when he said that
Mm-hmm.
because I speak perfectly fine. And
Uh-huh.
the thing is, I also think that my sense of style is a little more on the East Asian, or I
Hmm.
think my style is a little inspired because I do like fashion, and I like the aesthetic of, for instance, I don't know, let's say Chinese streetwear or
Mm.
the fashion trends, even if it's not Chinese, Korean, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that I had a perfectly normal outfit on. I thought I looked perfectly normal. But he said that was one of the first things he said to me when he saw me, too. I'm like, why did you say that? That kind of hurts
Wow.
my feelings. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I have to look like I'm from here. I'm not from here. But why did you say it like that? Now I feel kind of judged. It really be your own people,
Mm-hmm.
right?
For sure. That being
And
like one of the first things he says to you is so typical.
mm-hmm. And one thing that also sometimes gives me away is so I don't have black hair. I have I have brown hair. I don't know why. I was just born that way. And
Mm-hmm.
then the sun makes it even more brown.
Mm-hmm.
Uh and when I go to China, I always get questioned on it. People will be like, "Oh, did you dye your hair?" Or like, "Why is your hair so yellow?" I don't know why they say yellow.
Yellow.
Yeah,
Right.
they say why. I guess I don't know. They that's what they say. They say, "Why is your hair so yellow?" I don't know why they don't say like, "Oh, why do you have brown hair?"
So weird. For reference, Tiffany does not have yellow hair. It's brown.
Well, I think it would be called blonde at that point. But
Yeah.
yeah. For reference, I do not have yellow hair. I have
Or
brown.
blonde hair.
Yeah.
Blonde either.
I have brown hair. It's not brown. How would we describe this? It's
It
dark.
looks like it's like in the sun type natural brown hair. It's not like a dyed brown or anything.
Yeah. Now when people see some Chinese girl with brown hair, they're gonna think it's me. Anyways, uh, I digress. That is something that gives me away. And then I was just born that way. I can't help it. What do you want me to do?
Hmm.
And you always wonder, why does it even matter if I look like I am from here or not? Or why are we even clocking? I'm just a girl.
For real.
That's the whole episode. I'm just a girl.
Hmm.
Thanks for watching.
Imagine.
Mhm. And the thing that can be pretty annoying in terms of what I was saying about how I can speak pretty perfectly Not pretty perfect. Yeah, my English is awful right now.
Felt.
I can speak pretty perfect Cantonese, and they'll clock me. But when tourists speak poor Chinese or something, it's like, oh, what? And I mean, it has to do with the whole putting white people or Westerners on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I have mentioned this in the past before, but there's this weird thing with Chinese people, and I'm sure I think they do this everywhere.
Uh-huh.
But there's this weird thing where they put white people on a pedestal. I think we talked about this in terms of we're talking about teachers or something, like English teachers.
Oh yeah, probably, yeah.
Hmm. But anyways, if a tourist were to go to China and then say ni hao ma or whatever,
Whatever phrase.
they would just be in awe.
Uh,
And yes, sometimes they're pretending to be in awe, so you spend more money and they scam you or whatever because you're a
uh
tourist. Haha.
Exposed.
But it can be annoying because I'm just a, I'm just trying to exist in this country. Can I just do my thing?
Yeah. Can I just be?
Hmm. And don't get me wrong, I love going back. I love the only thing I don't love is the weather.
Oh yeah,
It's
for sure.
so hot. I've never gone back in the winter. I would like to, because then it's cooler. That was obvious. I didn't need to say that. But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
I really do love going back. It's so much fun. I love seeing how much it's changed since the last time I gone back,
Mm.
whether that be through the landscape or through restaurants. Like, oh, they open, or oh wow, my cousin moved here. Like I don't know, my cousin moved from one city to another city.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun, and I mean, you you learn to live. Sometimes you do have to just not care
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's your life. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It would be nice if I could just go back
Yes,
and then
yeah.
not get that comment.
Mm-hmm. For sure. On the flip side of the experience for people who actually speak the language fluently, there is a slightly different experience for those who maybe don't speak as fluently, or for people who just don't understand their native language at all. I think for people who don't understand the language completely, there's always going to be that feeling of like, these people around me are talking about me. And I'm not talking like just random, just in public or whatever. Like maybe you're with a group of family or friends, or your parents, friends, or something. And I feel like this is a universal experience of, you're meeting people, you're meeting family, extended family, and they're just looking at you and like smiling, but they're talking amongst themselves. They're
Mm-hmm.
saying things. And I'm sure people who don't understand the language feel like they're being talked about in those situations. And as someone who understands the language, but can't really speak it that well, I can fully understand what people are saying about me, and they are talking about me. And they just do it because they just assume you have no clue what they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
which absolutely sucks. Like, it completely sucks. I remember one time I was getting my hair done, and in the Philippines, like they teach English in schools. Some
Mm-hmm.
schools, it's only English that you speak in. They like you're not allowed to speak whatever dialect in the area. So I was at this hair salon and they were communicating with me in English, and everything was going fine. And I remember one of the hairstylists had asked me Do you understand what we're saying? Or if I speak to you in Tagalog, do you understand? I say, yeah, I do understand. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was just that hairstylist around. So the other hairstylist came and like was looking at me and then turned to the one that was talking to me and started mumbling something while looking at me, but like was smiling and nodding his head. And in Tagalog, the other one was like, shut up, she can understand. And I didn't hear him at all. So I had no clue what he was saying. But the other guy got really mad and was like, stop
Mad?
talking. Yeah, like he was like, shut up. Like mad that he was just saying it openly because I would have understood.
Oh.
Yeah. And that is something that happens so much or happened so much when I visited the Philippines. Um, Even if it was just relatives that knew me, knew that I understood, they'd still speak about me. And I think it doesn't help that I clearly don't look Filipino. So on top of like what we were talking about, maybe like I dress differently, my mannerisms are different. On top of that, I don't even look Filipino for like Western born Filipinos.
Yeah, everyone thinks me as Chinese.
Yeah, people think I'm any other Asian besides Filipino. Um, so imagine going to the Philippines as me, and like just everyone assumes that I'm not Filipino. So that's a little bit different for me because I know there are people who look Filipino visibly but don't understand the language at all, and they get a really bad experience of people like judging them for being like, you're not Filipino, like you don't understand us at all. Like why? Just they get hit with the question why, which is so rude. I've talked to a lot of like family members and friends who just don't understand and go back home and just get judged. And a lot of my family members who don't understand just don't want to visit the Philippines
Mm-hmm.
anymore because they're just sick of it, of like going back
Oh,
home
wow.
looking, looking Filipino, people speaking to them, then being like, oh, sorry, I don't speak, and then just getting judgment from just people on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Which you not to say that this is something that happens to everybody if you go back home. Um, but it is something that happens enough for them to, literally not want to go to their home country. And it sucks. It really does suck. It's part of why I'm so hesitant to push myself to speak because I can speak Tagalog if I really tried to. But if I see people like, like Tiffany who speak fluently and they still get judged, I don't want to be the person who speaks completely broken Tagalog in my case because that's even more embarrassing. At least that's how I internalize it. On other people, when I see them speaking broken Tagalog, I'm not like, oh my god, look at that loser. But it's an internal thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it sucks because I really do want to try and be better and be able to communicate with even just family back there. Like again, they can speak Filipino, but it would be nice if I could speak in Filipino to them, like why are they speaking English for me?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it really does suck.
I kind of touched on this a little bit near the end of my segment, but and it's easier said than done. It 100% is easier said than done. But I guess one of the ways that you cope with this othering feeling is you kind of just have to embrace or yeah, for one thing that people have said time and time again lately is how what we are as first gen, second gen, third gen, fourth gen, eighth gen, we are our own identity or we are our own group or community because we're not, because of this whole, oh, I don't really feel like I'm Canadian, but I also don't really feel like I'm from mainland China.
Uh-huh.
And you don't have to be, right? You don't have to. I don't think I'll ever become fully Canadian or fully
Mhm.
mainland Chinese because that's not how I was raised, and that's not how I was. I can't think of the word for it right now, but socialize.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we are kind of our own group,
Mhm.
and it's hard because you sometimes you feel embarrassed, you feel ashamed of who you are
Mhm.
because you don't know the language as well as you would like. And here's the thing, I mean, I've had friends say this to me. They say that they feel bad, they want to learn and be better at the language that their family speaks, or how what you were saying about feeling like they're being talked about. I have a friend who doesn't really know how to speak their family's language, and she talks about how they always talk about her, and she kind of vaguely knows that they are because of social cues.
Yeah. I mean,
And
sometimes it's
it
completely
really hurts
obvious.
because yes, yes, yes. And sometimes it really hurts because she sees her parents literally talking about her in front of her, but she doesn't know what they're saying
Mhm.
because her parents can speak English, so they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And that sucks because maybe in their eyes they think funny, haha. Oh, it's cute, or oh, haha, she doesn't know what we're saying. But it can feel very isolating, and it also feels
Mhm.
hurtful.
Yeah. Because, like, why would they need to talk behind your back?
They can just talk in front of you,
Mhm.
and that's not really cool.
Mm-mm. It really does suck.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know. This is kind of a thing that they teach you in life in general about not caring what other people think or kind of just embracing who you are.
Mhm.
And I mean, we're not exactly life coaches.
Oh, definitely not.
No, we fresh off the what do you call it? I don't know. What should we name our course?
Brush
Fresh
off
off,
the life.
fresh off the life.
Fall instead of fob.
Fall. Oh,
Fall.
I kind of like the sound of that.
I do too.
Fall.
Fall.
We'll figure out a way to get that acronym into her.
Mhm.
We'll figure it out.
Also, buy our online course. It's $2 million a month.
2 million. Well, no. It's 2 million. I don't know. It's one. I was trying to do a 99 at the end, but I kind of messed it up. You get the point.
Yes.
For a limited time only. If you sign up now, you will get 2 weeks worth of clips from our podcast,
Hell yeah.
exclusive content.
Mhm.
It's just us rambling in between segments.
Pretty much.
Actually, genuine question. If we were to open something along the lines of a Patreon where we showed you that stuff, would you be interested?
Yeah, let us know. Because we will.
Because sometimes when we're planning episodes, and also sometimes in between segments, because we think of something, but then it has nothing to do with the episode, so we have to cut it out.
Mhm.
If you wanna hear it, we'd be happy to
Mhm.
share that for fun. Now that the ad's over.
Yeah. In all seriousness, this shared experience, this like isolating feeling, is why we started the podcast, because we want to create a space where people who are first gen or second gen or third gen or any generation
Nth gen.
feel like they have a space, they have an identity, something.
Yeah. In my limited life experience, what helped me over time was kind of what I was saying earlier about just growing to not really care. Well, I don't mean not care, like just don't care. I mean, you can if you want to, just don't care at all and then do your thing. But I mean, I know who I am. I speak perfect Cantonese, and I'm a Cantonese person, no matter what you say. And that's it. I look different. Yes. I wasn't born in China, and I was born in Canada, but I don't look, I'm not a white person. And I just I exist, I exist as I am. And I don't know, if you don't like it, look away.
Period. Yeah.
Which is you learn to feel that way. I definitely used to be embarrassed, insecure about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Same. It's something that you learn as you mature, that people's judgment and their way of thinking or looking down upon you for being born in a different country, or being ethnically, or your parents being from somewhere different. You learn to realize that, you realize that it's just stupid.
And you will learn that the most judgmental and hateful people are the most miserable people.
And you just really don't need to care about what they think anyways. So
I like this end note.
I do too. We haven't had a wholesome ending in so long.
Is that true?
Yeah, because I feel like our episodes recently have either been, more informative, like we're just talking about a topic, or something like a historical episode or something.
Right.
There hasn't been a like, hey guys, love yourself, We were due.
Yeah. I heard what you said as one word.
Oh.
Well, thank you for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed that. And it had kind of been a hot minute since we did a first gen specific episode. So this was nice. And of course, like we said, this applies to second, third, fourth, nth gen to varying degrees. And I mean, feel free to leave a comment if you are, I don't know, a sixth generation Taiwanese person, Taiwanese, Australian, I don't know.
We're not saying that it's the complete exact same experience, because we do acknowledge there is a difference.
There's varying degrees, because there's distance from the culture and everything.
All of that is fine. Like there's nothing that's above the other in terms of experience or being it.
I am actually very interested in doing that episode that we randomly thought of about the superiority complex, because I have heard people say stuff like that.
Oh yeah, me
too. Looking down on. We'll save it for the episode.
Yeah. So get ready for that.
Leave a comment if you are. Well, just leave a comment about your experience. We love reading those. And let us know if anything we said resonated with you, whether that be a story that we shared or just general points that we made. And if it didn't resonate with you, also let us know, because I mean, everyone has a different experience. Right?
Yeah. Let us know why.
And
someone's just like, yeah, this didn't resonate with me, and then that's the comment.
I would laugh.
I would too. Honestly, comment that.
Comment that and leave a period.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
Thank you. And even, of course, share your experience going back to a country. Tell us what it was like. Because I mean, I haven't traveled the world much. I would love to. That was something I was talking to my friend about, how I would love to see the world. Because I haven't really traveled worldwide much at all. And so if you are, I don't know, Japanese American, and then you went back to Japan, tell us what that was like.
Well, if you guys like this episode and want to stay connected with us, check out our website in the description. It contains links to our streaming platforms such as Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and more. Follow us for more behind-the-scenes content, announcements, and other random things we decide to put on there.